Australia, a land of stunning beaches, vibrant cities, and iconic wildlife. But beneath its laid-back exterior lies a darker side, a collection of places so dangerous, so sacred, or so secretive that you're absolutely forbidden from entering them. From mysterious military zones to ancient Aboriginal sites protected by law, these locations remain off-limits to the everyday traveler. Today, we're counting down the 10 most forbidden places in Australia that you'll never be allowed to visit. So grab your snacks, get comfortable, and let's dive into the mysteries hidden across the Australian continent. Number 10. Heard Island and MacDonald Island. Starting our countdown at number 10, we have Heard Island and MacDonald Islands, one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth. Located about 4,000 kilometers southwest of Perth, in the middle of the freezing Southern Ocean. These volcanic islands are technically Australian territory, but getting there is nearly impossible. Why? Well, first of all, the journey alone takes weeks by boat through some of the most dangerous seas on the planet. But even if you somehow managed to make it, you'd need special permission from the Australian Antarctic Division, which is rarely granted. The islands are home to an active volcano called Big Ben, which last erupted in 2016. And the entire area is a UNESCO World Heritage Site dedicated to scientific research. The landscape is brutal. Freezing temperatures, violent winds, and glaciers covering most of the land. There are no humans living there, only massive colonies of penguins, seals, and seabirds that have claimed these islands as their own. The Australian government keeps this place locked down to protect its fragile ecosystem and to preserve one of the last truly untouched wildernesses on Earth. To this day, fewer than 240 people have ever set foot on Heard Island, making it more exclusive than a trip to space. Number 9. Woomera Prohibited Area. Coming in at number 9 is the Woomera Prohibited Area, a massive military testing zone in South Australia that is roughly the size of England. Yes, you heard that right. An area covering over 122,000 square kilometers where civilians are absolutely not welcome. Established back in 1947, Woomera has been used by the Australian Defence Force and international military partners for weapons testing, missile launches, and top-secret military operations. During the Cold War era, British nuclear tests were even conducted in parts of this zone, leaving behind contaminated sites that remain dangerous even today. The area is patrolled heavily, and unauthorized entry can result in serious legal consequences, including hefty fines and even imprisonment. What makes this place truly eerie is that scattered throughout the desert are abandoned buildings, old test sites, and remnants of military equipment slowly being reclaimed by the harsh outback environment. While parts of the nearby town of Woomera are open to tourists, venturing into the prohibited zone itself is a guaranteed way to get arrested. The mysteries of what exactly happens in this vast restricted area continue to fuel conspiracy theories and speculation among Australians to this day. Number 8. Ashmore and Cartier Island. At number 8, we travel to the Ashmore and Cartier Islands, a group of small, uninhabited tropical islands located off the northwestern coast of Australia in the Timor Sea. These tiny specks of land might look like paradise from above, but they're completely off-limits to the public. The Australian government declared these islands a marine reserve in 1983 to protect the incredibly diverse coral reefs, sea turtles, and seabirds that call this area home. The waters surrounding the islands are teeming with life, making it a critical breeding ground for numerous endangered species. However, these islands have also become a flashpoint for political controversy. Over the years, Ashmore and Cartier have been landing points for asylum seekers attempting to reach Australia by boat. The Australian government has implemented strict border protection policies, and the islands are now heavily monitored by naval patrols. Access requires special permits that are almost never issued to civilians. Even fishermen from nearby Indonesia, who traditionally use the islands for shelter, now face restrictions. The combination of environmental protection laws and national security concerns has turned these beautiful islands into one of Australia's most guarded secrets. Number 7. Australian Signals Directorate Facilities. Number 7 takes us into the shadowy world of intelligence gathering. Scattered across Australia are several highly classified facilities operated by the Australian Signals Directorate, the country's equivalent to America's NSA. The most famous of these is Pine Gap, located near Alice Springs in the Northern Territory. Pine Gap has been operating since 1970 as a joint defense facility between Australia and the United States. What goes on inside remains largely classified, but it's known to be involved in satellite surveillance, intelligence collection, and monitoring communications from around the world. The facility is surrounded by multiple layers of security fences, armed guards, and sophisticated surveillance systems. Unauthorized individuals caught anywhere near the facility face immediate arrest. Even taking photographs from public roads nearby is heavily discouraged and monitored. What makes Pine Gap particularly fascinating is the mystery surrounding its true capabilities. Over the decades, it's been the subject of countless conspiracy theories, with some believing it's involved in everything from UFO tracking to weather manipulation. In 2013, documents leaked by Edward Snowden confirmed that Pine Gap played a crucial role in global surveillance operations. To this day, the Australian government remains tight-lipped about the full extent of what happens behind those razor wire fences, making it one of the most intriguing forbidden locations on our list. Number 6. North Sentinel Island. Wait, that's not Australia. Actually, let me correct myself here. At number 6, we have Snake Island. No, not the Brazilian one, but Australia's own mysterious Snake Island, located off the coast of Western Australia. However, what really deserves this spot is the restricted Aboriginal sacred sites scattered throughout the country. One of the most significant is Uluru's restricted areas. While tourists can visit Uluru, formerly known as Ayers Rock, certain sections around and on the rock are strictly prohibited because of their deep spiritual significance to the Anangu people, the traditional owners of the land. Since October 2019, climbing Uluru has been completely banned after decades of the Anangu people requesting that visitors respect their sacred site. These restrictions are not just suggestions, they're backed by law. The Aboriginal Land Rights Act protects numerous sacred sites across Australia, and entering these areas without permission can result in prosecution. Many of these sites are connected to dreaming stories that have been passed down for over 60,000 years, making them among the oldest continuous cultural practices on Earth. The Anangu believe that certain areas are so sacred that even looking at them inappropriately can cause spiritual harm. The Australian government now works closely with Indigenous communities to identify and protect these culturally significant locations, ensuring that these ancient traditions are preserved for future generations. To this day, the exact locations of many sacred sites remain secret to prevent desecration by curious trespassers. Number 5. Macquarie Island, a windswept subantarctic island located about 1,500 kilometers southeast of Tasmania. This remote island is a nature reserve of global importance, and visiting requires special authorization that's extremely difficult to obtain. Macquarie Island was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1997 because of its unique geology and exceptional wildlife populations. The island is home to millions of seabirds, including 4 species of penguins, and massive elephant seal colonies that breed on its rocky beaches. However, the island's ecosystem is incredibly fragile and has been severely damaged in the past by introduced species. In the early 1800s, sealers brought rabbits, rats, and cats to the island, which devastated native wildlife populations. It took decades and millions of dollars in conservation efforts to eradicate these invasive species. Because of this history, the Tasmanian Parks and Wildlife Service strictly controls who can visit to prevent any further ecological damage. The island also serves as an important research station for studying climate change and subantarctic ecosystems. The weather is notoriously brutal, with constant rain, howling winds, and temperatures that rarely climb above 10 degrees Celsius. Only a handful of scientists and support staff live on the island at any given time, making it one of the loneliest places on Earth. Number 4. Christmas Island Detention Center. At number 4, we travel to Christmas Island, an Australian territory located in the Indian Ocean. The island is well known for its natural beauty and the famous red crab migration that attracts visitors from around the world. However, there is also a high-security immigration detention facility on the island that is not open to the general public. Established in 2008, the center has been used to accommodate asylum seekers and immigration detainees while their cases are reviewed. Over the years, the facility has drawn attention from international organizations and observers, with discussions focusing on living conditions, mental well-being, and operational transparency. Due to its restricted access, details about daily life inside the center remain limited. The Australian government strictly controls access to the facility, allowing very limited visits or media coverage. Journalists are often denied entry, and even legal representatives face certain restrictions. Over the years, the center has been linked to several serious incidents, drawing international attention. One major event occurred in 2010, when a boat carrying asylum seekers crashed near the island, resulting in the loss of many lives. Today, the detention center remains one of the most sensitive and closely monitored locations in Australian territory, and the limited information available continues to spark public debate. Number 3. Granite Island Quarantine Station. Coming in at number 3, we have Australia's network of abandoned quarantine stations, with the most mysterious being the old facilities scattered along the coastline. But particularly intriguing is the restricted sections of the North Head Quarantine Station in Sydney, now part of Q Station, from 1832 to 1984. This facility served as Australia's main quarantine station, isolating thousands of immigrants and sailors suspected of carrying infectious diseases before they could enter the country. Diseases like smallpox, Spanish flu, and bubonic plague were all contained here, and tragically, many people died within its walls. While parts of Q Station are now open as a hotel and tourist attraction, certain areas remain closed to the public due to safety concerns and, some say, paranormal activity. The restricted sections include old hospital wards, isolation cells, and the morgue where bodies were prepared for burial. Staff and visitors have reported unexplained sounds, shadowy figures, and an overwhelming sense of dread in these abandoned buildings. What makes this location truly unsettling is the graffiti left behind by quarantine passengers covering the walls of the old buildings, desperate messages, drawings, and dates carved into stone by people who didn't know if they'd ever leave. Some areas are structurally unsafe due to decay, but the lingering sense of history and suffering makes these forbidden zones some of the most haunting places in Australia. To this day, security ensures that curious visitors don't wander into the restricted areas, preserving both the safety of explorers and the dignity of those who suffered there over a century ago. Number 2. Grunard Island, Oops, Scotland. We're talking about Australia's own biological research facilities, specifically the Australian Centre for Disease Preparedness, formerly known as the Australian Animal Health Laboratory, located in Geelong, Victoria. This maximum biosecurity facility is where scientists study the world's most dangerous animal diseases, including foot and mouth disease, rabies, and exotic viruses that could devastate Australia's agriculture industry. The facility operates at biosecurity level 4, the highest level of containment, meaning it handles pathogens that could cause catastrophic outbreaks if released. Getting inside this facility is virtually impossible for anyone outside of authorized personnel. The building is designed like a fortress, with multiple layers of security, airlocks, negative pressure rooms, and decontamination chambers. Scientists working inside must follow extreme protocols, wearing full protective suits and going through rigorous safety procedures. Even the air that leaves the building is filtered and sterilized. Australia's isolation has protected it from many diseases that plague other continents, and this facility plays a crucial role in keeping it that way. The secrecy surrounding the research conducted here is necessary to prevent biosecurity threats, but it also makes it one of the most restricted and mysterious locations in the country. What experiments are being conducted behind those walls? What diseases are being studied? The answers remain classified, known only to a select few scientists dedicated to protecting Australia's unique ecosystems. Number 1. Trial Bay Jail Restricted Areas. And finally, at number 1, we have the restricted underground sections of Trial Bay Jail in New South Wales. But more significantly, the classified underground facilities beneath several Australian military bases, particularly the rumored facilities beneath the Nurungar and Pine Gap installations. For decades, rumors have circulated about extensive underground tunnel systems and bunkers constructed during the Cold War beneath various Australian defence installations. While the government acknowledges some underground facilities exist for communication and security purposes, the full extent of these subterranean networks remains classified. These underground installations were reportedly designed to serve as command centers in the event of nuclear war, complete with self-contained life support systems, communication arrays, and enough supplies to sustain personnel for months or even years. What makes these underground facilities our #1 forbidden location is the complete veil of secrecy surrounding them. Unlike other restricted sites where we know roughly what goes on, these underground installations remain shrouded in mystery. Former military personnel have occasionally hinted at their existence, but official confirmation is nearly impossible to obtain. Are these facilities still operational? What technology is stored down there? Could they serve as emergency government bunkers in a crisis? To this day, these questions remain unanswered, making Australia's hidden underground facilities the most forbidden and mysterious locations on our entire list. And that wraps up our list of 10 forbidden places across Australia, locations that remain off-limits due to military, scientific, cultural, or safety reasons. From icy remote islands to hidden facilities deep in the outback, these places prove that even today, some areas are still completely unreachable.